In this lecture, I will be sharing with you 10 rules that will help you give a great interview. Now, we have discussed many things in our previous lectures which basically tell you how to go about different interview styles and everything. But just as a recap and as a summary, I wanted to have this lecture in place as well so that you could just go through this and quickly summarize everything that we have learned in this module. The first thing that I would like to tell you is that you must rehearse properly and thoroughly as well with your friends and your family. If you've rehearsed properly and you've been talking about yourself and introducing yourself with your family members and so on, when you go for the actual interview, you will hit the ground running. And instead of a dry throat or maybe having awkward points in between, you will go there, give a crisp introduction about yourself, and then take on the interviewers like you should do. Then you should do your research properly. So go online, study about what the organization values, its overall mission and its culture, what people that you are meeting with, what kind of dress code that organization has so that you can dress up appropriately. All those things will account for tremendously because, again, when you're competing with other candidates, these are things that will give you a small edge over them. And especially in the case of competing with experienced candidates, if you know your stuff, you will be able to beat someone who has more experience than you. Following this, one of the most important elements during a face-to-face interview is your body language and how charged up and how engaged you are in the overall interview. So make sure that you're dressed up properly. You have a very positive body language which is portraying energy, and you want to take on the interviewers and make sure that you answer all the questions properly. At the same time, I mentioned earlier, while doing so, to use your hands. Do make sure that they don't fly around all over the place, but in a decent way, try to use your hands and just don't talk through your mouth. Instead, whatever you're trying to communicate as a whole body. Following this, another very similar thing is that you have to dress the part. Like I mentioned earlier, if you've done your research properly and if you have some friends working in that organization, try to find out what kind of dress code that organization has. If you're appearing for a sales job, make sure you are suited properly. If you're appearing for a desk job and you will not be interacting with a lot of customers, then you can wear a business casual outfit. Depending on which position that you've applied against, try to make sure that you're dressed up according to that equation. Then comes a very important part, which is your handshake. And as you can see on your screens, that you have to shake it like you mean it. So not just fingers, don't handshake like a very flimsy handshake. Have a strong and a very positive handshake because that tells a lot about a person's personality. So when you go there, look at the person in the eye, give a firm handshake, not lasting more than 3 seconds and 3 shakes, and then wait for the person to ask you to sit down. Remember, these are all things that are very important as far as first image is concerned. And like it or not, when you're appearing for an interview, those people sitting in front of you will be judging you for each and everything that you do. Because the thing is that you will be joining their organization, and joining an organization is like joining a family. So keep that in mind and portray yourself and give a very firm handshake that is able to impress those individuals. Then what you have to do while the interview is going on, and even before that and after that as well, is that you should keep a smile on your face. Now, by a smile, I don't mean that you have to show all your teeth and have a big smile like this. Have a decent smile which shows that you are a pleasant personality and you are able to listen to things and even criticism in a positive manner. Then the next point that I would like to share with you is that you must take the water. So if they are asking you if you need tea or water, please do ask for a glass of water, because at times what happens is that during the interview, your throat or your mouth gets dry. And at that moment, you need a sip of water so that you can keep talking in a clear and a proper manner. This will also help you, as I mentioned in the STAR approach, when giving structured answers, you can take a sip of water, which will basically give you a couple of seconds to think about your answer. Alright, so taking water is very important, and always ask for it even if they don't offer you. The next point is that you should always maintain very good manners during the interview. So have a respectable image about yourself, have respect for those who are interviewing you, greet them properly, respect them for what they're saying, even if they are criticizing you. Because interviewers will try to pressurize you so you become more nervous and then start portraying some of your weaknesses as well. The second last thing I would like to share is that you should always ask questions in between. Now, in certain puzzle questions or structured answers, it's always good to start answering by asking questions. So not only that, you should also ask certain questions about the job role, about what challenges it has, whom you'll be reporting to, what are your growth prospects in the organization, and so on. So these are questions which actually tell the interviewers that you are interested in that opportunity and looking forward to everything that job role has to offer. Then finally, once your interview is about to come to a close, you have to send a proper thank you. Now, you don't have to send emails or text messages to your interviewers later on. In fact, what you can do is that when your interview is coming to a close, you should also convey a proper thank you to them, thank them for their time and all the effort that they had to go through while scheduling an interview with you. This gives a very formal and a good closure to your overall conversation or your experience with those interviewers. So these were the 10 things that you must consider when you're preparing for an interview, because all these things will count as far as your overall image as an individual is concerned. Especially when you're competing with other people who have more experience with you, these are certain things that will give you a competitive edge over them, and hopefully you will be able to secure that job as well.